the San Francisco 49ers defense. So I want to get into kind of specializing as we get toward the latter half of the season. And one thing that I want to just talk about today or just focus on is the secondary because of plays like that. And this has been a highly criticized unit, right? And for good reason. But I think against Tampa Bay anyway, that each player made significant strides. So I'm going to concentrate on the cornerbacks, but really take a long look at Ji'Ayir Brown once he gets into the game later on. All right, so I just showed great coverage by Deommodore Lenoir, making a near one-handed interception. Here he is in the slot in a relatively new position for him, right? So he's been playing, on the perimeter all year now. He's having to man the middle. So, as you can see, he's not targeted, but it's still a bust. And just because the offense didn't take advantage of it doesn't mean Lenoir wouldn't get a minus sign for this play. So it's 3 deep, and by that I mean Mooney Ward has the deep, Talanoa Hufanga has the deep middle, and then he has the deep on the outside. That means, so Fred Warner is the middle linebacker. He's bailing out. He's going to take number 3 up the field. He's responsible for number 3 carrying him up the middle of the field. Lenoir, probably not used to playing this, sees number 3, sees him go vertical, and is used to being the guy responsible for the deep player in your zone because that's what you do on the perimeter. However, this is his responsibility right here. So Lenoir's responsibility is like the hook area. So who's going to hook up, quote unquote, hook up? That is this receiver right here. So not the biggest of deals, but something to keep an eye on if the 49ers are going to run into a team that's going to dink and dunk. You just want to make sure Lenoir's eyes are in the right spot. So I wanted to highlight that just for that reason. So one player who I thought had a wildly impressive game, top of the screen, Mooney Ward. So he gives a perception right here, right? And you're going to see from a couple other angles that he could not have been in a better position to make a play on the pass. Baker Mayfield just threw a better ball, and that's how it works when you're on this side of the ball, right? Good offense beats good defense, and that's true in essentially every sport. But Mooney Ward, he was targeted 11 times, gave up 6 receptions. So 70 yards on 11 targets. If you're giving up 6.5 yards per pass and they're targeting you 11 times, you're doing a damn good job. Not to mention, 3 of those were pass breakups. And you look at this, look where that ball is. Like, what else could he do right there? So, broke up 3 of those passes, and he also had 2 tackles for loss. So, a very good game from the 49ers' best cornerback. And they're going to need him, especially with, again, like the receivers that the 49ers are going to continue to face. So, the Bucs got Talanoa Hufanga and Ji'Ayir Brown on the same route where they just catch the 49ers in cover 2 and they're able to hit the seam right down the middle right there. So if we're watching and we're trying to think what Hufanga sees, right? So cover 2, that means he just has the deep half, pretty much this entire half of the field. He is looking for number 2, and the way that he turns right there, like it's going to be tough for him to make this play. But as soon as number 1 eliminates himself, meaning like he's not going to be a vertical threat anymore, his eyes have to go to number 2, so he should be gravitating toward that player. Instead, I think that speed turn really just puts him in a bad position. But in my opinion, it's not so much Hufanga's fault as it is just the Bucs catching the 49ers in a tough call. And again, like over the course of 50 to 60 plays in a game, the offense is going to get over on you a couple times, and that's exactly what happened here. So nothing too big to take away from this play other than hat tip to the offense. All right, so here's a touchdown, and we're watching the bottom of the screen. So it's Ambry Thomas against Mike Evans, one-on-one. And honestly, that's not the worst coverage, so we have to break this down a little bit. So watch Thomas. He has outside leverage. So to me, that's signaling he's expecting. So he's taking away the fade right now. He's forcing Mike Evans to win inside. Why? Because he has help. And this is where just good offense beats good defense. So Gibson is there. If that ball is thrown right away, that is 6 points the other way. Instead, Baker just waits for the second window, and that's going to be really difficult to take away if you're Thomas and you have outside leverage to be able to stop that pass. Like in an ideal world, like in a perfect world, maybe that extra step to the outside, he's staying square and he's staying honest, right? A little bit longer, but that's really difficult. Right, almost an identical play from last week where the offense puts a running back on the outside, so The 49ers, they're in man coverage. They're not going to put a cornerback on him, so they walk out a linebacker. That leaves Charvarius Ward against a wide receiver in the slot. And just as he did last week, slot fade, plays it beautifully, breaks up the pass. And I think it's better look from the other end zone angle to see Mooney be able to rake this ball out. But we're seeing that he has, the speed to run with wide receivers. We're also seeing that he doesn't panic, and that's some of the things that DBs really struggle with. When even if they have a step, they either panic, they grab, they hold, but fights through the end, makes a play. Love to see that celebration. All right, we're watching the bottom of the screen now. If you are a good offensive coordinator, you are going to make the opposing team's cornerbacks tackle. That is not a recipe for success against this team. So again, this is Mooney making a play. This is a tackle for loss on a bubble screen. This is never a tackle for loss. This should be, we see a lot of times where, look, if this is Debo, he's going to make him miss, and it's probably going to be an explosive play. Instead, Ward does a good job of squaring up, and we see so many times where a cornerback coming downhill will either dive and leave his feet to make a tackle, or he'll stop his momentum instead. Watch. So he looks like he's coming to a stop right now, Mooney that is, but he just keeps running through, and he finishes for a tackle. So those type of plays are just as important as those pass breakups. So this is a win. You get them behind the sticks, and now you allow your pass rush to pin their ears back on, an obvious passing down. So here's that obvious passing down. It's 3rd and 11, bottom of the screen. It's Mike Evans. It's Mooney Ward. It's going to be a comeback right at the sticks. He's there. It looks like, honestly, he just whiffs on the ball and, just doesn't make a play when he's right in position. But I think if you're looking at the process of this game, this shows why the 49ers signed Ward, because they have a cornerback who can be competitive against the NFL's best. Look where he is right here. He's diving, has his arm right there. Again, in ideal position to where you want to be to make a play. Doesn't, and the Bucs get a first down, but thinking process and not results. Tough to be mad at a cornerback for that. All right, so this is the play where Talanoa Hufanga unfortunately was hurt towards ACL. So we're watching the bottom of the screen here, and I'm not obviously showing the injury. I'm just showing that, he knew right away. If you're watching him, watch him, and he taps his knee right there. He knows. Thankfully, he was able to walk off, but, that's a big blow. Losing a player who was an all-pro in his first year as a starter. We've seen his instincts. Hufanga is able to read and see the field, unlike a lot of safeties in the NFL who've been playing for multiple years. So just from that standpoint, from a guy who knows where to be, who knows how to just be Johnny on the spot, right? We've seen him plenty of times this season, last season, take advantage of the offense's mistakes. So Ji'Ayir Brown does have some big shoes to fill, and we're going to show him now moving forward. Wish him the best of luck, obviously. And hopefully Talanoa Hufanga has a speedy recovery. Kyle Shanahan did say if everything goes smoothly, Talanoa should be ready for week 1 next year. And it might be him and Ji'Ayir moving forward. But either way, you just hope that he's able to fully recover because, just his spirit, he's the kind of player that you need on the roster. All right, for the rest of this program, this is going to be the Ji'Ayir Brown show. One thing that you noticed right away is his ability to not only recognize, but fly around. So he didn't time well in the draft as far as 40 time goes, but you can see the play speed is there. And why? It's because he recognizes what's going on. So I talked about Talanoa Hufanga and his knack for being around the ball. Well, when you play with this kind of effort, you are going to be around the ball a lot. So he just makes, that's not the greatest effort from Mike Evans trying to block him. But when you play balls to the wall like this, you are going to make a lot of plays. So arrow is pointing up, and this is just 2 plays from Brown. I mentioned how Hufanga was beaten down the seam. So here's Brown, and it looks like he's beaten. And actually PFF credited this against Brown. I don't think it was. So if this is cover 3, and to me this looks like cover 3 because deep third, cornerback, middle third, deep third. This safety is responsible for this flat area. So that, to me, plays out like cover 3, how this should be. And this is, just a great cover 3 beater in general. The idea is, with having him run, whether it's a curl or whether it's an out, you're trying to have the cornerback suck up, and that's exactly what he does. And he needs to let this go in my mind anyway, and get here. But either way, like, it's going to be very difficult for this player to be able to take that seam running down the middle, especially when the free safety's on the other side. So this is just another example of the scheme by the offense able to get over on the scheme from the defense. I'm showing these plays for a reason, and he's not making the plays, but again, Brown's trigger, and by that I just mean, like, when he sees it, he goes. He's going to make a lot of plays just by flying around like that. Like, he's far away from that pass, but he recognizes it, closes, triggers. Would have made the play, but 54 did. So on a few plays before this, Talanoa Hufanga was one-on-one with Mike Evans down the field and defended him perfectly against the post. Here he is playing single high safety, and he's just playing free safety. He's playing center field. He's reading the quarterback. So Baker tries to hold him. Watch. He's looking left, knowing he's going to go right the whole time. Gibson doesn't fall for it. Makes a great read, great jump. Just can't come up with the interception. But Gibson has been a ball player this season. So I want to highlight him as well because he's been very good for them and plays a lot of versatile roles, whether it's, down in the slot guarding one-on-one, as I mentioned, deep down the field, or just right there playing center field, reading the quarterback's eyes. But of course, you're going to want him to come up with those plays because I don't think they'll be as fortunate with dropped interceptions in the next game or the next couple of games, you could say. All right, 4th down. Mike Evans, Ji'Ayir Brown. Okay, kid, we're going to run a zero blitz. Yes, you haven't been targeted in your NFL career. Yes, we just threw you in because of one of our players got hurt. But you're going to have to guard Mike Evans. Good luck. Go get him. And sure enough, he makes the play. He makes the play on the pass. That is really good. So, if we're watching Brown, right here, right when the receiver turns and then turns up, we see so many guys, so many DBs panic, right? And just grab, just reach out. And that's where the contact comes in. I think Brown does a really nice job here of just first of all, right there, coming to balance, staying square. And then once he goes to turn, once he goes to run, he almost stops himself from leaning into him, falling over into Evans. And then, of course, is able to have the awareness to make a play on the pass, plays through the receiver's hands, probably plays his eyes. Like if you're a DB and you're watching the wide receiver, when their eyes get big, what's going to happen? The ball's going to come. And I imagine that's what happened with Brown. But just to bring a bunch of defenders like that and leave your rookie third rounder, first target of his life against Mike freaking Evans, that's a good sign for Brown's prospects moving forward. All right, so it's 27-14, 13, whatever it is, 2-possession game. The game's not over. If the Bucks score here, because this is fresh off the deep long punt return, if they score here, 1-possession game, pressure on the offense, you better get a first down or else defense has to go out there again. Instead, the hero, the man of the hour, Ji'Ayir Brown playing center field again. Look, he's looking left. Doesn't drift left, though, and I think that's what's important. So, read the quarterback. He's going to take you where to go. Man, that is about as good as it gets. Just being heady enough, right? Knowing where my threats are. Knowing who I need to relate to. Let's watch 27 in the middle. He's hopping right because that's where the quarterback initially looked. Checks his receiver. And then the ball's out of his hands right now. So he finds a receiver, makes just enough of the hit, jars the ball loose, saves a touchdown. And what do we have on the very next play? So Brown's in the slot to the bottom here. Looks like he's coming to blitz, but then he backs off. He's in coverage against number 2, goes with the corner route. Ball ricochets up. And we have a new Johnny on the spot. So, I mean, what went wrong in this game? We saw the 41-yarder where Brown was just caught in a bad spot. But, I mean, if we're just basing off his trigger, right, his ability to be around the ball, his ability to fly around, obviously, he made a nice catch here on the interception, had the awareness to look back for the ball. But I don't want to diminish what Talanoa Hufanga has meant to the defense, but I think the 49ers are going to be in good hands with 27 back there. I think his play speed is going to be a positive, right? A step in the right direction. And I mean, if he can cover the way that he did in this game with no notice, with no practice reps with the starters, I imagine it'll only get better as they move forward. So thanks for watching. I will be back with the offense. Please like, subscribe, comment. Let me know if you need to want to see anything else. I'm going to try to do something on the defensive line too, because obviously they got active in this one too. But this was a Ji'Ayir Brown show, and he passed with flying colors.